Hey everybody, Deathgrip here. Hope y'all are enjoying the new update. I know I definitely am. Before I delve into this topic though, I first wanted to apologize to those who subscribed with the expectation of regular videos. I had originally thought that's what I wanted to do, but I just don't have the time to be consistently updating. I'm a senior engineering student and am taking summer courses to remain on track to graduate, and I just can't make it work. If I tried to, I'd probably spend most of my time trying to push out videos and not really much time actually playing the game and advancing, which is more important to me than making videos that you'll probably see from multiple content creators, like the typical weapon and hero reviews. Mainly my focus for videos will be to cover topics that don't really get covered, so there's not really a schedule for that, as when I make a video, it will just be kind of when there's something that I either feel is very important for the community or something that I personally find interesting. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the main point of this video. Now, I believe this new retro sci-fi weapon set is the absolute best weapon set for beginners. And by beginners, I don't just mean Stonewood players, as this applies to people all the way up through Canny Valley. The first reason why this weapon set is best for beginners is the weapon set is locked to energy. Now, for most of us Twine players, this is usually seen as a negative, because we need to be able to maximize our damage output by making our weapons element-specific to handle the higher-level enemies. However, for new players, it's important to realize that they are restricted by a lack of resource availability, mainly in perk up and reperk. The problem for a newer player, when a weapon set comes out that can have any element, is that they could be stuck with a lot of physical weapons, or getting elements on their weapons that have the same element as all the weapons that they have leveled up. So, they can't diversify their armoring. For me, it wasn't until I was in high-end Canny that I was able to get an assault rifle of every element with the proper perks leveled up, so a lot of the time through Canny was spent doing less damage than I could have been. Changing an element for a newer player is by far one of the most expensive things they can do. It costs 1,500 reperk, which is more than double the amount to change any other perk, not to mention the elemental perk up, costing 1,200 amp up, fire up, or frost up, depending on what element you're changing it to. Elemental perk ups are very difficult to amass for a new player, as they don't really get the larger amounts that Twine players do. So if all the weapons are energy, you never have to worry about getting an element that you don't want. Now the next reason is just how strong these weapons are. Now for those of you that are watching this and don't know, the reason why most Twine players don't prefer energy weapons is because they only do their full 100% damage against physical husks. Against any elemental husk, energy weapons only do 75% of their damage. For Twine players who have the resources, we make our weapons element specific so they do full damage. For example, fire does full damage to nature enemies, but it drops to only 75% damage against a fire enemy, and only 25% damage to water enemies. So, we build a weapon for every one of those situations so we can always do the most damage possible. That being said, the weapons in this set, even being energy, can most certainly hold their own in high-end content and can even beat a lot of weapons that you can change the element on. For Stonewood players, who only fight physical enemies, you will always see 100% of this damage. And for those in Plankerton and above that start to run into elemental enemies, these weapons will feel great against all of them, and they won't go away in your loadout as you get higher in content. They won't get power creep as a bunch of other weapons tend to do. The third reason why this set is best for beginners is the 6th perk you can get on this weapon set. And I'm, of course, talking about this perk right here. Each shot fired grants plus 1.8 crit rating for 1 second. This stacks up to 15 times. This means after 15 shots, you get an increase of 27 crit rating, which is just shy of a full legendary crit rating perk, which will give you plus 30 crit rating. This gets even better for the melee weapons, which grants plus 6 crit rating for a max of 5 stacks, which equals plus 30 crit rating after getting all 5 of those stacks, of course. On top of that, it lasts 5 seconds instead of just 1, allowing you more time in between hits to keep the stacks going. This perk is so great for new players because of their inability to take advantage of a full crit build. Think about this. A new player who watches weapon reviews and wants to build his weapons the right way for crit as he progresses, his weapons are going to feel very weak for a long time and that's because crit weapons heavily rely on increased chance to crit, and anything less than a full legendary crit rating perk is really going to hit the weapon's performance exponentially harder each perk tier you go down. So for someone in Plankerton and even low to mid canny that can only get their perks to blue rolls, their weapons will lose out to damage build weapons. But with this 6th perk, simply by upgrading the weapon to level 25, you get instant access to a full plus 27 crit rating for ranged weapons and plus 30 for melees with no perk up required. This will make weapons a lot better and more reliable as they slowly gain the resources to level up the other perks. Now, the only downside of this right now is the ranged weapons do take energy cell ammo, which costs bacon. This can be a problem as bacon is harder to come by for lower players because they generally can't afford to send their best heroes out on expeditions to try to get bacon. However, this will change in a week or two with the release of 9.30, and energy cell ammo will no longer cost bacon, and this will no longer be a concern. That's pretty much all I have to say, so hopefully this made sense, and those of you who are newer players, grind out those tickets and try to get that stacking crit 6th perk. Now, if you found this video to be helpful or something you feel is important for other people to know, please consider telling others about it so we can get this in the minds of more new players. I don't really care about my subscriber count, so don't feel like you need to subscribe. I simply care about getting this info out there to help the community. That being said, let me know what you think down in the comments below, as well as any other questions you may have about this weapon set, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.